Okay, we are going to get started with our April Club Q kit. This one is called Find Joy in the Ordinary. This is a pretty simple kit to put together. So if you want to read along with the directions and put it together, you can, or just watch the video. The great thing about having a video is that you can just pause it and start it again, go at your own pace. We are going to get started with this kit. And it says, just like all of our Quick Quotes page kits, it has suggestions for powder puff chalking inks. This one suggests Fields of Green and Barn Board. I actually am going to add some orange to this. So I have candy corn that I'm going to use. It's a little bit brighter orange. And I have Fields of Green. So I will use those two, but you choose whichever colors. If you want more pinks added, you grab a pink. If you want to bring out some of the purples, you can use purple. Whichever you decide to use. We are going to start by punching out all of our die cuts. Sometimes I leave die cuts in the master sheet and just grab them as I go, but when there's lots of flowers, I like to punch them out and put them in by color and size so I can easily grab them. There's a cutting diagram that we're going to go through first so that we can get all the cutting out of the way. So I will, if you want to pause and punch out all of your die cuts, you go ahead and do that. What I like to do, so I have all the yellow ones here punched out. There's a large yellow one, two medium yellow ones, and a small. So I have these sitting in front of me easily to grab, so I know which ones I can easily grab them when I know which ones I need. So for each color, I just have a pile of small, medium, large. You can see on the pink ones, there's just two large, so I put those with just the pink pile of embellishments, and I actually accidentally, because these are a little bit fragile, I accidentally tore apart this, but it's not gonna even matter. You won't even see that, so if you accidentally tear this one apart, it's a little bit fragile. No worries, you won't even notice on your page. Your orange, there is a large and two medium. And we are going to get started here with the cutting diagram. So we try to have most things cut for you in the Quick Quotes kits, but there's a few times where it just makes way more sense to have a cutting diagram. So if you want to grab this and lay it next to you, it tells you what we're going to cut. We're actually going to cut the two 3.5 by 5.5 inch pieces first. And also, as you're doing the cutting, if there are any tabs on the ends of your papers, I know there are on the background papers as well, go ahead and trim those off. But we are going to start with this part right here, and we are going to do 3.5 by 5.5. So I will put it in to 3.5. Make a cut. I'm going to turn that to 5.5. Make a cut. Slide this one through to 5.5. Make a cut. And this is just a scrap. A lot of times we use scraps, so we always say don't throw anything away until the end, which I will also mention right now. The yellow pieces that your flower die cuts came out of, these are actually going to be photo backers, and these are going to be covered up. So don't throw these away. And a lot of times we always tell you just to hang on to everything so you don't have to go digging through the garbage. We've had to do that many times, but we use this. You won't even see this piece in the middle later. So hang on to those. Okay, so we have two 3.5 by 5.5. And with this piece that's left over, we are going to cut the 5 by 7 first. So I'm going to put it into 7 inches and trim. This is scrap. Turn it to 5. And you have a 5x7. Then I'm going to slide it in because we're going to do a 4.5 by 6.5. We're going to do the 4.5. Slide it into 4.5. Trim. Leftover, we're not using that piece, so you can hang on to that for tags or something for another layout. And then turn it, and we'll cut at 6.5. So you have a 5x7 and a 4.5 by 6.5. The only other cutting in this kit is the words we're going to use. So I am going to put that in and line it up so that we cut right on the edge of the journaling piece and the little banner there. I'm going to cut right in the middle, trim that down. And if there is a little white edge like this, no worries, because you just take your chalk and run it along the edge and you'll never even know that white piece is there. We'll turn it and trim out the rest of the journaling piece. And toss these scraps. Go down the other side of the banner here. This one's a little trickier to trim. If you'd rather use your scissors, you can. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my scissors to trim off the end. Then it makes it easier when it's not quite as long. And I go right here to the end. Don't cut off the points. I'm just going to go right to the end. And then I'm going to line this up in my cutter right along the edge. And trim that there. And again, if there's a little white space, no worries. You just chalk it up with some green. I'm going to go in and cut the little, I call it a dove's tail, the end. And those white spaces on the edge, just take your green and run it along the edge. It just looks chopped up in. Adds a little color to it anyway, a little brighter green. Okay, so our cutting is out of the way. I'm going to move the trimmer. And then I always have my directions just kind of sitting next to me so that I can check dimensions or something like that. Or on the back, we always try to make it easy by putting letters next to where we need to have things from the directions here. So lay those next to you. The only other cutting we will do is the ribbon. We cut it into 2 5-inch pieces. So you can go ahead and do that now. Cut your ribbon into 2 5-inch pieces. And we are going to make sure this is all in the camera. And now we're going to start by just layering up our photo backers. So what we have here, we have a whole pile of different colors, and this is sometimes easier to just look at the photo and stack these up like they are in the photo. So we have, we're going to do, let's see, we're going to do page 1 first. So we need a pink backer, a yellow backer, and a green backer. and we need the smaller of the two yellow for page 1. So these are the two yellow ones that came out of your die cuts. We need the smaller one for page 1. We need one of the green and one pink. On the front of that, we have the two bigger white that we cut out of the cutting diagram. The larger one actually goes on the second page, so we're going to move that out of there. This one is going to go on the yellow. We have two smaller white with a little black diamond design that go on here. So once you get those lined up, what I am going to do is chalk up the edges of the white before we put it on the page. So in the picture, I actually used green around the pink one, barn board around the one that goes on yellow, and then I did use a yellow up here, which we didn't suggest on there because we didn't use very many places. So if you would like to use a yellow, you throw in a yellow. I'm going to use an orange because there's not much orange in the background, and I just want to make this nice and bright on this one. So I'm going to chalk up the edges. You can go ahead and pause and chalk up any of these pieces, whatever color you choose. I just do a little more around the edges, run it down the side just quickly. That's what's great about the chalking inks. Even if you put them on a little messy, it looks like it's supposed to be that way. So I just quickly run it down the edge, adding some orange here. Goes on the green. And then I'm going to use green again, I think, on the big one. Some of my other favorite colors that would work on this, like if you want to add some blue, the sky blue or the blue Hawaiian is a really nice kind of turquoise blue. And when you add this to your yellow, I would actually put adhesive on the yellow part so that you know because this doesn't have to have a ton of adhesive, so that you know where your little cutout is. If you put it on the back of the white paper, the adhesive might go through. Okay, so we have the yellow done. Adhesive on this one. And I just do a little bit because this is just our sample, but if you want to add more adhesive, you can. It doesn't take a whole lot. Okay, and then this is where I kind of look at the picture to be able to know where to add it to your page. The green is about 2 inches in from the left and about 2 inches down from the top of the page. And if you don't have photos, if you're not putting photos in these right now, just remember to don't put adhesive all the way across the top and lay that on top of here because you won't be able to get a photo in. You want to just maybe put some adhesive across the bottom. And I use my ATG gun a lot because it's easy to pick back up. And I just use little bits of it so that it's easy to pick back up and move things. Because a lot of times I will just place stuff on the page and then go back later and adhere things down. So if you want to just place things for now, this one goes about 1.5 inches, just barely up over the green. 1.5 inches from the right. And you move these around however they work for your pictures. That's one reason I say to just kind of place it on the page. And then once you get the pictures, because if there's one that you don't want to cover anything up here, you can move this down a little bit. And remember, don't put any adhesive here so that you can peel it back up. Okay, and this goes in about 1 inch from the right and about 1 inch up from this bottom of the yellow here. Okay, we're going to work on all the backers right now. So on the second page, we have the yellow first, then the orange, and I'm actually going to add a little orange to this, brighten it up a little bit. There's actually no orange in this background paper, but I think adding a little bit of orange paper and a little where are we at here? Sorry, I thought I lost a piece here. And adding a little orange to the edges, I think just really brightens up the page. And I love orange. I feel like it's really summery. I'm ready for spring to be in full swing with some colorful flowers. We've had lots of rain here in the Northwest lately. So we're ready for spring. Okay, so this one goes about 1 inch in from the right side and about 1.5 inches from the top. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that on. So about 1 inch from the right side and about 1.5 inches from the top. And if you want to, you can look at the specific measurements. I know some people work in exacts. I work in abouts. So if you need exact measurements, they actually are in the instructions. Okay, so we have the flowers to layer up. So let's start with page 1. We need 1 large pink flower, 1 large orange flower, 1 medium, oh, I'm sorry, let me see here. Yeah, 1 medium yellow flower. And if these do get mixed up a little bit, no worries, nobody will ever know. You choose the flowers that work for you. And then we have a small white flower here. And I'll show you a little trick that makes it really kind of pop off the page. What I do, and I learned this from Garage Mary. Most of you know Garage Mary from some of our videos. I hold my scissors here and I just crease it right in the middle. And to begin with, it looks a little messy and kind of bent out of shape. But when you get these all together, it looks really nice and layered and thick, and it kind of pops off the page. Gives a nice little perfect crease right in the middle there. If you want to chalk these up beforehand, you can. A lot of times with flowers, unless you don't want to do different colors, if you want to do different colors, I would chalk them up before you glue them together. But a lot of times I will just load the flowers up, layer them up, and then I take a chalk and I just go over the ends of each one and just do it all together. I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually really adding some dimension. To the flower. And then the last one is pretty skinny, so I just will leave the white one. Okay, so I'm going to put a little adhesive in the middle here. Lay down my orange flower. Adhesive in the middle. I have my yellow flower. A little in the middle. So I don't know if you can see, but that really gives it some lift off of there when you do the folds. Okay, and then I am going to take my orange and I'm just going to run it over the edge of all of them. You can do these separately before you glue them down if you would like to. But since I'm trying to add some orange to make things pop, I am just going to do that to all of them. This candy corn is really a bright orange too. It's one of our newest out of our candy collection. Okay, so this flower is going to go right in the middle, and then we have some flourishes. The largest flourish is going to get tucked. So this is also why I like to lay it down instead of adhering it from the very beginning, so that you can see what kind of photos you are going to have here. So you're not covering it up with, sorry, my alarm went off. So you're not covering it up with your flourishes and stuff. So your biggest flourish is going to go across the top like that. Your smaller one is going to hang down past this. And once you get these laid out too, then you can kind of see which photos you want in each one. So you may have one that someone's face is right here, right center. That would probably go here. It just makes it easy to kind of see where you need your photo backers. Okay, so we have our little words here, and I'm going to lay these out before I glue them down so I can see. So in the picture, I actually used green around the edges, but again, I am going to give orange a try. And you can go in as far as you want, because on these tags, there is going to be maybe a small picture. You could do some journaling on there. You choose how much of it you want to actually chalk up. If you are doing this with more pinks, the strawberry milkshake is a good one. There is a really bright pink, I think it's called bubblegum. That one's kind of like a fuchsia. That would be kind of pretty on here. So your ribbon, you'll want to just tie a knot in the holes there. And I actually lost my ribbon because I opened this at work, and I was hoping I had all the pieces in here to bring home and do the video. So cut those in half. I think we did that from the beginning. Just thread it through and tie a knot. Trim the edge. Do that for both. So when you're done with these Club Q kits each month, we would love to see your finished product. You can post them on our Facebook page. We love to see them with pictures in them and see that they've gotten finished. I know that sometimes it's hard to actually get them finished. Sometimes they start stacking up. But we would love, love, love to see them on our Facebook page with your beautiful pictures in them. Okay, so you can go ahead and glue those down. I would just put glue just at the very bottom so that you can slide a picture into this one later if you want to. Your butterflies, you want one large, one small. I'm going to chalk those up on the edge. And one thing with some of these pieces, if you like the look of like a stamped look like this with a little bit of a pattern, you can take, I have a few stamps that have like a all over crosshatch print on it, or just little dots. It's kind of fun to take those and just stamp with the Powder Puff chalking inks. And you can kind of see in one of the pictures here, I did that with a crosshatch one on one of the butterflies. It just gives it a little extra something. And those get folded up. You put a little adhesive here. I would maybe use a glue dot. Another glue dot. Double that up. I'm going to make sure this is actually in the picture. Okay, and your first page, other than your button, which our embellishments always come in these little packets so they all stay together. Adhere your little button to the top there, and we'll move on to the second page. I'm going to scoot this over. It might be a little bit out of the picture. Okay, so we already have our first piece down. Our little journaling piece. Oh, you know what I forgot? Don't forget your little pink border here. I'm going to use the one that I actually broke. So this starts, you just center this. So it starts about 3/4 of an inch in over here. And then it goes like this. Mine is torn, but I'll glue it right together so you won't even tell. And since we're on that, we will just add the other one to the other page. Right at the bottom. I wouldn't glue this down yet because your flower stems are going to go right underneath that. So actually, let's move this out of the way for a second. And go ahead and lay these down so that you know that you have them where you want them. The first flower stem goes in about 3 inches from the left. The medium one goes in about almost 2 inches. And then 1 inch to the right of the big one, you'll put the smaller one. And we will layer flowers. I wouldn't glue those down yet. Let's layer the flowers, get them in place, and then we can move these however you need to. So you need, for the tall one, you need a large yellow. One of the largest yellows that we have here. And then we need one of the medium orange. And again, if you wanted to stop and take time to fold these to give them some dimension, you go right ahead. And then we need a medium, well, yeah, I would say this is a medium because there's one that is a little bit smaller. You need the medium size white. That goes right on top. And that goes at the very top of your tallest stem. The medium one, we need a big pink. The largest yellow one that's left. So you have these two sizes. You want the bigger one. That goes right on there. And then one of the other medium white. So you can see there's still a small white one left for the smaller flower. That one goes right on top of that. And so this is where I know that I need to move things over a little bit because the pink one isn't going to fit. The stems should all be about 1 inch apart. Okay, and then the last of the flowers is an orange, yellow, and then the white. And that gets layered over that one. So place these like you want them. And then I just pick them up one by one, and if you have these all glued together, you can move these stems where you want them, glue them down. This can go across the bottom and adhere down. Your journaling piece. When you glue your flowers down, you really only need to glue, not the petals, but just the center. That'll be enough to keep them in place. The rest of your buttons. And you can put these on whichever ones you want. We have the orange down here, the yellow up top, and the green in the middle. Your leaves, I fold just a little bit in the middle there. Chalk the edges. Just makes it kind of pop off the page a little bit when you give it a little fold. And these can be tucked in just right at the edge. It doesn't even necessarily have to go under. Let's see, this one goes over here. I just put a little adhesive on the very end of it where the little crack is there. And those go right next to the stem. If you want to tuck them under a little bit, you can, but you definitely don't have to. It can just go right on the edge of the stem. And these can be moved around however you would like them. This is hard because I don't have it actually glued down. The flower isn't glued down. So you can either tuck that under or put it right on top. The only other pieces are your butterflies, chalk those up, and then you have one, where did I put it? One flourish left, and once you get your picture on there, you'll put that across the bottom. Your butterflies right on top of it, and you are finished. Simple kit to put together, but it's a great spring kit. We hope to see pictures on our Facebook page of your photos in the pages or on the pages. We appreciate you being a Club Q member, and we will see you next time. Thank you.